Well, hello. I think we're on lesson number 10. That's pretty cool. And again, lesson, I don't know about that so much. It's just taking my journey with me. I'm following crypto for 1 year. I've made some investments. I'm sharing what I've done with you so you can learn from my mistakes or hopefully gain something out of my experience. So, what happened over the last couple of days? A couple of days ago, lesson number 9, I think it was, I made a video about the market crashing. Well, that went on over the weekend. I think today's Wednesday. So through Monday, um, it was scary. I mean, I put money in that I could afford to lose, but nobody can really afford to lose any money. Let's be real, right? Um, so I didn't like seeing my investments go down that much. But at the same time, I was like, okay, I've told myself I'm going to be in this for a year, and and so I really tried to live by what I was preaching. And I have to say, though, I totally entertained speaking with my husband. I totally entertained, like when it was, I was watching a lot of stock twits, which I shouldn't have done, and and then I was like totally entertaining selling and trying to then rebuy because they were talking about, it going down to 3,000 or disappearing altogether, and just a lot of bad news. And it just kept dropping and dropping and dropping. And I think it went as low as 5,700 maybe at the very lowest. Um, but of course, I should have, if I was going to do something like that, it would have made sense, right, to do that at $10,000 or $9,000 and then buy in at the bottom. But none of us have a crystal ball. None of us can predict the future. So, of course, with my luck, I would have bought in. I mean, when I really started to get nervous that it was going to disappear, I would have sold everything, gone to sleep, woken up, and it would have all gone back up. So, and then I would have been even farther behind. So, something that I wanted to say about that. So, a lot of these guys that I listen to, they've obviously been in the space a long time. People that I know, they've been in crypto for a long time. And they always are talking about buy the dip, buy the dip. And I'm like, well, for one, nobody can buy the dip all the time because you don't have enough money and crypto dips like every other day. So I just am trying to maintain the perspective of long term. That's how long I'm going to stay in it, at least a year. And I'm going to see where I am. And luckily, I didn't do anything, and I'm coming out okay. So, um, because of course, right after I had that thought, I went to bed, I woke up, and things were changing and changing quickly. So that's how it is, right? That's why you don't play without a lot of experience. You don't play the short game. So I'm playing the long game. One thing I did do during all of that is there were a lot of sales. There were items like Neo that I wanted to get in before. I think several videos back, I watched Neo at $30 forever, and I wanted to get some, but then I just was like, oh, I've put enough money in. I didn't anticipate that things were just going to change overnight, and Neo popped up to like 100 and then $130, and then it was going up to $140. And I finally did some staggered buy-ins, dollar cost averaging on Neo, a week or two ago, and got a little bit of Neo. But then Neo was down to like $70 or something like that with this crash, and so I actually bought a little bit of Neo, and which was great. And it was funny because it gave me. I wasn't going to spend any money. I didn't spend a lot, but I bought a few Neos, and I think that I don't know, it seemed to change my mentality. Like by instead of buying into the fear that it was never going to come back, by buying a little bit, I actually kind of felt like I had conquered my fear and was like, you know, I'm in it for the long run. But that could just have been really a stupid thing to do at the same time. So anyway, worked out okay. Neo's gone back up and is cranking up. So one of the things that changed, there was just so many things going on in the market. There were all the different countries around the world have come up with legislation on crypto, and the United States hadn't yet. So that was one of the things that was happening. It happened yesterday, and it was really pretty cool because Federal Trade Commission and the Securities Exchange, they came out and said pretty much this is a young person's game, and it's their version of the stock market, and this is exciting technology. We're going to regulate it to keep people safe, but they're not going to stop it. Whereas China came out and said they had said that a while back. They said no more ICOs a couple months ago. And we watch, one of the guys we watch is Michael from Box Mining. And Michael said, he's in Hong Kong, and he said everybody in China's, nobody listened to that rule and everybody's still participating. But what happened over the weekend, or kind of probably one of the things going into why the market crashed so badly, and I don't know all the reasons, but one of the reasons, again, is that China came in and said, you can't participate in anything, and they actually put up some firewalls or something to block people in China getting on exchanges that are outside of China. So it sounds like China's not against the technology. It just sounds like right now they're keeping it within their country, and the Chinese people are not allowed to invest in companies that are not from China, or any at all. I'm not quite sure, but they put some much heavier restrictions, realizing that nobody was following the rules. But what that means, in that, China's pretty advanced technologically, and so Neo, Quantum, and VeChain are all Chinese companies, and I think when China decides to support people in their country, they probably want to be the biggest and the best. I suspect that these companies are not going to go anywhere anytime soon. I think they're going to do great. Trying to get centered here. So anyway, so I bought a little bit more Neo, and I feel pretty good about that. So otherwise, I'm just sitting and waiting. It was interesting. So during that crash, one of the things I'd probably suggest is, if you're going to stick to your coins, just turn off your TV, turn off your information, because if you promised yourself you're not going to make any changes, then you're not going to make any changes, right? So you just don't listen to all the hype, don't listen to everything, and just ignore it, and then just go on with your day. And it's a lot easier to get through it that way, I think. But of course I didn't. I stared at stuff all day long. But one of the things I've always felt, and I've heard this mentioned from a couple of other people, is that when I got into this space, I'm like, well, these people got in, when Bitcoin was 10 cents, and, even if it crashes, they're telling me to hold, but I'm just protecting them, and they're, you come up with all these reasons, and that, maybe why are we holding? We got in when it was much higher. And then I had listened to a podcast the other day where somebody put a different perspective on it, and I thought it was really good. I think it was Box Mining again, but he said, these people got in when it was low, and then they rode it all the way to $20,000, and they didn't sell. So, I'm sure they took some profits. I'm sure, grab a quick million off of there if you've got 500 Bitcoin or whatever. But they didn't get rid of all their Bitcoin, and so they really must believe in this product. And think about that. Like, not only even if you bought it at $1, when it went to $10, you've made pretty good return on investment, right? But you held on to it, and then it goes to 100, and then it goes to 1,000. Imagine having that many Bitcoin and it going to $1,000 and you're not selling them, and having the faith that it's going to go to 20,000. So then watching it go all the way back down after all those years, like 8 years that you've had your Bitcoin in your wallet, and now it's all the way down at, it's going back down to 4,000, which is still huge, but not 20, right? So I have a new respect for the people that have been holders for a really long time. So that's all I have to say on that. So holding for big money. I talked about buying the Neo and how that just kind of strangely changed my perspective and made me feel better. I think that's it. That's it for today. I'm not making any big moves. I'm just sitting back and watching the market. I don't know. I think what I'm going to start to do is I'll probably just start to kind of do some ICO research and with other people, and I'll start to put that up. But there's, I've developed a good portfolio. I've ridden a couple of dips, and I think I'm kind of in a good holding position. So I'm going to go back to drawing my house plans and getting ready to build a new house and flip it, and then I'll check in a couple times a week, and we'll just kind of go from there. If you have any questions, you find my channel, hit the subscribe button, send me your questions. I work unusual hours, so I have time to listen to a lot of these guys that a lot of you might not have the time to listen to. And good luck. Bye-bye.